podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Best league in the world, time. Best league in the world.
Here we go. The most basket case league in the world, where every club operates at a massive loss. And
good luck, guys, predicting this, because you got no fucking chance.
Yeah, the championship is impossible to predict. Mark, as a fan of the club currently in the championship, regrettably, what are your thoughts on this upcoming season?
I've got to
both Albion and January.
We'll get to efforts afterwards, I think.
Sure.
I've got Luton to go straight back up. Even though I think Ross Barkley's left, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I say he's elsewhere. But I think if they can play the same sort of football they played in the Prem last season, which gave a lot of teams a lot of problems, and they've still got Rob Edwards in charge, I can see them doing pretty well. I can't see Burnley and Sheffield United doing as well. They might, test the playoff picture a little bit. I don't know why, but I've got Norwich in my head randomly.
It's Norwich always up there. So
yeah,
you're always going up or down.
Again,
yo-yo club, epitome yo-yo club.
Yeah, going back to my dad's theory of they're due one. If for no other reason, Norwich are due to get back up at some point. As far as the Albion are concerned, well, that's an interesting one. We've lost a few players in the pre-season. Thomas Asante's gone. He was good for a worldie now and again. Yakuslu looked very good in the Champions. In fact, to be fair, when we had him in the Premier League first time round, he looked pretty good in that. We've lost Connor Townsend and Cedric Kipre. They're all the first teamers that have gone. But on the flip side of that, when we signed two players today, Gianluca
Dobbins, one of them.
Yeah, Gianluca Frabotta from Juve. It says
he sounds brilliant. He's from Juventus and he's got an Italian name. He must be brilliant.
Exactly.
Won the league, sorted.
In fact,
HMS Pistol League.
Well, let's get a ticket for the ship first before it sets sail. Yeah. I was talking to my other half's brothers and dad earlier on, because they're all Albion fans, thankfully. And I was trying to remember the last time we had an Italian player, and we think it was back when Enzo Maresca played for us.
Wow.
Bloody hell, who's now Chelsea boss?
Yes.
I've forgotten that he played for you.
Yeah, he was only a nipper. He was about 18, 19, then he went, funnily enough, to Juventus for about 5-6 million, I think it was, which back then would have been a hell of a lot of money for a club at our size as we were at that point. But yeah, we've got Andy Cole's son on a free, old Devante. Torborn Hegem. I've definitely butchered his name, and I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce the club that he's come from, but they play in the Swedish Allsvenskan. I can tell you that. And apparently he's looked decent in pre-season. So we'll wait and see. I mean, we've had new owners as well. So we finally got rid of Lai. And that was, I think, probably the best thing we did last season. Not so much making the playoffs, although we enjoyed it, the two games that we actually played in that part of the season. But yeah, we've got rid of him. We've got, can't think of his first name now. I know his surname's Patel. He's American, I think he is. But he's got various other businesses, but he's actually shown up at the games towards the back end of last season, which is more than the previous regime decided to do. So, yeah, we can only be optimistic.
Absolutely. Not to sound smart, but that Hegem's come from Brahmapoikana.
Oh, piss off.
Sorry. No, I was only going to say this because...
You're not, though. That's the thing.
Mark.
That's the thing,
Mark,
Jimmy.
we've all been thinking that for years. I'm glad you said it.
Stick around.
No, I'm only saying this because they are recognised as one of the best academies in Sweden. So they have a habit of producing.
You know what? That's the one bit I didn't write down about their academy status.
There you go.
God damn it.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, I was just going to say it's a positive. It's a positive. Like saying he could be absolutely brilliant because they are renowned producing fantastic players. That's all. Sorry to sound like a knob.
It's your show. You can act as much of a knob as you like. You've listened to mine, obviously, so you know what I'm like.
And that new knobbishness is really coming through on that new microphone, Jimmy. Loud.
It really is.
Oh, no. Yeah. Old Mike knew Jimmy.
I'm quite intrigued to see you signed Lewis Dobbin on loan.
Yeah, he come from the Villa youth, isn't he? Well, via Everton.
Well, yeah, he's part of those definitely not PSR signings.
They're definitely not legal PSR.
Nothing to do with PSR. The slightest. But it definitely is. Interesting player, because he's had a few chances at Premier League level, scored, I think, at home to Chelsea. Jimmy
he did. He got the second goal. Yeah, it's good for him.
And it's one of those players that's always been on the cusp of the first team, always like on the subs, but never really felt like he was given much of a chance to give it as a go. And whenever he did, he might do okay, but you never felt he was going to do well enough to stay in the side when someone else might come back from injury. So I'm quite intrigued to see him as a full season in the Championship at that level to see what he does. I think you've got a good player. I generally do think you've got a really good player in your hands if he gets a bit of confidence. But yeah, I'll be watching that from afar just to see, not that it really affects us now because like I say, he's not Villa's player, but to see if someone that's been in and around our first team for the past few years, to see what you can do at that level.
So it makes a change for a youth player to go from the Villa to the Albion rather than the other way around.
True.
Because I think the lad that went to Everton in exchange was one of our former youth players.
Yeah, whose name I can't remember. Because
I'm not going to try and pronounce that one. I'm just going to call him Tim.
Hey, lightweight.
Tim.
Yeah, I know. Absolute fly-by-night, aren't I? Shocking.
But yeah, I mean, if we can hassle the playoffs, I'll be happy with that. You know, first full season under a new regime, usual ins and outs. But yeah, we'll see. I think in terms of relegation, I hate to say it because Matty Phillips has gone there and I've always liked him. But Oxford, and you know, apologies to Adi Hansen as well, who's big in the music scene on Twitter and that. But yeah, Oxford will be taking one of those places. Plymouth possibly. I can't see Rooney doing any better than they did last season. Purely because I think he's a shit manager, in all honesty. Great player. But that doesn't always translate, does it?
Absolutely.
As for the third spot, I don't know, somebody else. There's a prediction. Somebody will get relegated.
See? Smart.
I know.
Like that, Mark.
That's where my fiver's going.
Hedging your bets.
Yeah.
Gosh. I'll have a quick... I'll dive in there slightly, but I think Blackburn Rovers will be in a bit of trouble. I don't know if... I think Jimmy may have listened to the Not Top 20. Is it true that the Venkies are going to get their money frozen? Something like that?
Oh, the Venkies, they're always up to something. Something smells like rotten chicken. They're still there. They're still there, believe it or not. And it was going all right for a while, but I think there is an issue with their assets abroad in India. With the Venkies, I don't know exactly what's going on. And truthfully, obviously, I'd hate to talk about the business operations side of owners because obviously it's under investigation.
Allegedly.
I mean, they sound
allegedly, you know, yeah. But allegedly, there's stuff going on behind the scenes at Blackburn that's not particularly great with the ownership.
Jimmy, remember our what the solicitor said?
If you say allegedly, it's fine.
No more comments made because we can't afford to pay him.
Yeah, we don't have a solicitor. If you have one, then
but
all right.
Hypothetically, if we did have one, that's what he'd be saying to you.
It started off with, leave me alone. I'm not doing anything for you because you've not paid me.
There was that,
I think it was leave me alone. I'm not a solicitor. Why are you hassling me? Get out my pub.
No, it wasn't pub. It was top drawer, wasn't it? Get out my top drawer. Something like that. Maybe that happened. Anyway.
Blackburn Rovers. From the champions, Blackburn Rovers. Go on, let's get a crack on them.
Yeah. I just think they'll struggle. I think they'll struggle. It's one of those where, I don't know, I went to watch them about 18 months ago, freezing my tits off in December. I thought it was like nearly 40 odd quid to watch them, which I know I'm a little bit out of touch in terms of, I know how much it costs to watch Rochdale, I know how much it costs to watch Man City, and then in the middle I go, how much does it cost to watch everybody else? It was like 39 quid, and it was freezing my tits off. It was against Stoke, it was 0-0.
You picked a classic there, didn't you?
Yeah. So
that is championship.
That is
39 quid.
39 quid, December, freezing my tits off.
I think
probably left a bullet there.
I think that's what they call straight pride, isn't it? Blackburn v Stoke in December.
Oof.
Eject it.
Can we say that? Can we keep that in?
I'm not sure. I think we're fine.
Why not?
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on about football.
Yeah, it's not too offensive.
So yeah, I don't know if anybody else has got any eyes on anybody else there. I do fancy. I've got a soft spot for Coventry City. They always seem to be punching up there, don't they? In some way. Obviously, did they get beat by Man United in the FA Cup last 4? Was that right?
Semi-final, wasn't it? They were screwed out of that.
Weren't they just?
They were, shafted.
Weren't they just?
That was a bigger screw job than Montreal.
There you go. That's a great That's a great. Yep, I get you on that one.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Are Middlesbrough due a good season?
Under Michael Carrick,
stop making my theory, Dick.
Character, isn't it?
You would think so. Under Michael Carrick.
They're a funny one, Borough, aren't they? I like Carrick as a manager, but I don't think the squad's strong enough.
Yeah.
But then,
I will also say this whilst I'm unmuted. Leeds are falling apart.
Losing players left, right, and centre. Leeds this summer.
Somerville's
gone
to West Ham.
Right?
West Ham. Nonto's rumoured to be going bloody everywhere.
Archie Gray's gone to Spurs. We'll get on to him in Spurs later, obviously.
Yeah,
right.
He has. Lost a lot of players, Leeds.
Whilst we're on the Leeds.
But they have got some quality in, like.
But Red Bull have sponsored them, so you never know.
Well,
might give them wings.
RB Leeds.
RB Leipzig.
Hey, I like that one.
Leipzig. Right itself.
There you go.
You can have that one. Now, the Leeds sort of draw comparisons with us from, crikey, I want to say about 06, 07, somewhere around that period. We lost the playoffs to Derby, who went on to have that wonderful season in the Premier League, shall we say.
Record breaking.
Yes. Not for the reasons I want to remember. But then the following season, we won the league. We'd lost a number of players after the playoff defeat. I think, and Deck will like this name, Jason Kumas was there at the time.
Now we're talking.
Deck might have ejaculated on. If not,
I did wonder why he pulled that face, but I wasn't sure if that was him normally, so it's hard to tell.
He does one every episode.
Hang on, here's one for you, Deck.
Stops, Mark, so it's just that is the face, mate.
Here's one.
Do
Mickey Mellon.
Oh,
there we go.
What a man! What a man!
Sir Michael of Man.
And he's spent.
Ash Taylor.
That's some clapping.
Gets a clap.
Bruno's Magpies legend. Ash Taylor.
There's the Hollywood handshake, or there's the Deck clap. There you go.
Can't you get?
Deck's had the clap a few
times. I was
times.
going to say you could get medicine for that, can't you?
Yeah, it's not quite what I thought though. When I went to the doctors, I thought I'd be like applauded in, but obviously not. No.
Yeah, clap for carers meant a different thing to you, didn't it, back in COVID?
On the subject of Kumas, obviously unrelated.
Glad you said Kumas then, Mark. I'm so glad you said Kumas.
So am I.
I actually signed his son on Football Manager. Lewis Kumas, absolute beast in League Two. I think it was for Harrogate, and he was just...
Lewis has got the potential to really, really... I know his dad had a good career, but his dad openly admitted that he hated football and only did it because he was, very good at it, but his attitude wasn't there.
Yeah, if he hadn't been as lazy, he'd have been...
Yeah, but Lewis has got something there. It'd be great to see him have a good career.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So, anyway, I'm going to back off now because that's just your show. So,
I'm quite intrigued to see how Scott Parker's going to get on at Burnley, going in after the biggest fall upwards I've possibly ever seen in Vincent Company to go from
relegated to Burnley. Got Deck on this podcast full time.
Well, that's true. Yeah. To the Bayern Munich job, it's just hilarious, for lack of a better word. Because where was he at? Bournemouth, was it? I'm right in saying?
Parker,
was it Bournemouth?
Yeah. He was at Fulham, then Bournemouth got smashed by Liverpool 9-0.
But didn't he get sacked because he came out and spoke out against the owners?
He basically made comments like, this team isn't going to stay up, but he spoke against the owners and all that, and then he got sacked, and then Gary O'Neill actually did a fantastic job.
Then he went to Belgium as well, didn't he?
He did. He managed Club Brugge for a bit. Oh, I forgot about that. He managed in the Champions League for all of a game or two.
So you do get the feeling that they're either going to, say crash or burn, but they've kept most of that squad together. I mean, they have managed to sell the goalkeeper, who probably cost them about 12 points last season in the Premier League, to Ipswich of all teams.
Yeah, Mirich,
yeah, bless him, pure Mirich. But I'm quite intrigued how he's going to get on, because he's always someone that's, again, I can't put him in that sort of Lampard, Rooney category of a manager, because he was never that good of a player to a certain extent. but someone who has proved himself at decent clubs to see if he's going to take them on and have a challenge. I'd be quite intrigued to see what he does.
It's definitely...
Yeah. They're a funny one, Burnley, because again...
Insightful comments on football.
We're kind of expecting Burnley to kind of do what they did under Vincent Kompany again, but under a manager who's got experience of getting clubs out of the Championship the right way in Fulham and Bournemouth. I just don't know if they're going to be as strong. I don't know if this last season's really mentally affected some of those players. Because, I'll be as guilty as anyone. I thought Burnley were going to come up, play the football that they did in the Championship and survive comfortably. Not like, Europe, but, 12th, 13th. And it happened to go, they only really found their feet the last few weeks of the season when it was way too late. I don't know if that's going to have a lingering effect. I don't know if Parker's going to try and change the system too much. I don't know if it's going to rub people the wrong way as well. Go on, sorry, Matt.
So I think you put Sheffield United in that same boat where, they conceded, 100 and something goals last season?
Goals.
It was over 100 goals. I know that I appreciate you might have lose a few players, but that's going to have an effect on you. It must do.
Was that not the record that they set for goals conceded?
They did. Yeah. More than Swindon conceded, and that was a 42-game season, I think, because it was back when the Premier League was 20-something teams, 22 teams. So
there was some big losses.
They were shite. Like, I don't want to speak ill of any football club, really, because they're my team and they're professionals and they all work hard, but they were so out of their depth. But you could see from even weirdly Sheffield United, when they went up, they almost felt like they went up almost by accident and the Heckenbotham. They were good, but a couple more weeks they'd been chased down by Luton or Borough that previous year before last almost, and you thought, they lost Njai, they lost Harmer. Not Harmer, sorry. Who was the other midfield? Oh, Berger. Sorry, they brought Harmer in. Sorry, Sander Berger?
Apparently rumoured. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, feel free to tell me wrong. I swear I read somewhere today that he's linked with Man United, which is Ineos in a nutshell.
That's very Ineos. I don't think he did that much of Burnley last season, but okay. That's a very...
let me double check this.
Shades of Wout Weghorst going on there.
Absolutely. Human being pole.
Oh, quick shout out to hello, Mark's daughter. Hi, Mark's daughter.
Hello.
You're right.
Oh, hello, you okay?
Sorry, my 6-year-old decided to invade the show.
Don't you worry.
It needed an injection of life.
Shut up more than me, Mark.
Don't you worry. Mind.
What's her thoughts on the Championship?
Speaking of daughters, my daughter is 1 next week.
Indeed.
1 year old.
Indeed.
Wow, time flies.
She's one what?
1 year old.
Is she working now?
Yes.
She's paying rent. Come on.
She's
crack the whip, Greg. Come on.
She's trying to walk. She
bless.
1 or 2 steps and falls over. 1 or 2 steps falling over. She would get a yellow card for simulation. Yeah.
Eerily a lot like her dad coming out of Camel Club circa 2009,
yes,
but
absolutely.
Let's not go there.
Time just flies at the minute. It's crazy.
It doesn't adjust, mate. It doesn't adjust. At times. Speaking of time flying, we are into a new season, of course, an awful transition. And we're into a new Championship season, as we know. Any more thoughts on the Championship before I spout my absolute shit?
So, we were talking about Burnley. I'm sure on the Not Top 20 podcast they were saying Burnley got 40 players. Is that right?
They've got an army.
Yeah. Unless they were taking the mick with that, I'm not too sure.
4-0.
4-0.
They've probably got a lot because they'll have had lads they'll have loaned out. Sorry. I'm sure. Yeah, were you doing a thingy reference then, Matt, by any chance?
I was not doing a picture reference.
Possibly.
Not at all.
40 players, Scott. 40.
That's insane.
It's insane. Anyway, references aside, I think it's probably a mixture of players they bought on Premier League money and players they loaned out whilst in the Premier League / Championship, and it's all kind of gone a bit crazy. So quite possibly. For me, Burnley, I think they'll be playoffs. I don't see them going automatically back up. I think there'll be a bit of time to work out what's going on. They've undoubtedly got quality in the team, but in some cases probably far too good for the Championship. But it needs the management, it needs stability, it needs structure, and I think it'll take a bit of time. I'm with Mark. I've gone Luton to win the Championship. Now, I'm going to caveat this. Now, I have said this before, I think, on the pod. If I haven't said it on the pod, I've said it to someone. I hate to let down all the people who were so gushing over Luton last season. They weren't that good in the Premier League. They got 26 points. That's only one more than Southampton got as bottom of the league the previous year. If it wasn't for Burnley,
2 points reductions.
If it wasn't for Burnley and Sheffield United being dreadful and us and Forest having points reductions, they'd have been down with about 5 games to go. So
I'll play a little bit of devil's
just want to caveat that. Yeah.
I agree with the concept. They played some really good football that did upset some of the bigger teams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
But their issue was that in the games that you want to be looking to win, i.e.
games home to Burnley, home to Sheffield United, home to Forest, us on a Tues Friday night, they couldn't win.
That was their issue. It was the one who could get points. Yeah, exactly. I think they stepped up in the bigger games, which you expect, especially when a team
winning at Goodison, obviously, massive game.
Yeah, of course.
For you, yeah.
But I think
massive. Yeah, God, I was fuming.
Of course they fucking won. Yeah,
and the cup game, Matt. Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, that was.
We had the cup game. That was fucking.
That's another story. What a waste of money with that one. But I do think that was their issue, is that in the games that you need to be winning in order to stay up, and Everton did this in a prime example. We won those games. I say comfortably.
Forest, your Brentfords,
Forest,
Derby, you know,
whatever else. Exactly, those games where you need to grind out results. They never quite did enough of that, and that was their letdown that season. Although, shout out to Luton, they've kept their home share for 2 seasons. Big up, big fan of that.
Yes.
Is that to do with no, I hate to be Mr. Right. Is that Greg? You mentioned something on a group chat.
Here we go again, Mark. Here he goes again.
Is that to do with the fact? Is that to do with the shirt sold so well? We're thinking of the fans, or is this we didn't get a designer in quick enough time before the start of the season to actually design a new shirt? So we'll just go with what we've got.
Too many, and then
it's an interesting.
Was it the David Moyes circa 2011 approach to transfer window? We'll go with what we've got because we haven't had time to buy any players.
I'll join you on that, Jimmy, because on our other group chat with the Uni Gang, John Warburton, Burnley fan, says in reply to me and Jimmy talking about this, there's no way a team like Luton, with such limited scope for profile, small ground, close to London, no players that they can sell for big profit, would torpedo the one thing that they can use to generate income. And if they were going to do it, why not keep the away kit too? Their first game is with us, Burnley, at Kenilworth Road, so they've got at least 2 weeks from today to design an away kit, market it, etc. release. I don't see any modern football club putting fans above profit. So that was John Warburton, Burnley fan.
Or are you just all cynical bastards, and it's actually quite a nice thing? Which one is it?
It's hard to say.
It used to be the done thing as well, and I could be wrong in saying this. Up until about
you have an away shirt for 2 seasons.
Yeah, so it was every year.
You could only change a certain number of kits in a calendar year. So I know teams got away with it where they'd have like a European kit and stuff, but
it's been way before that. But I agree. When I were a young lad,
back
it
in
was
day,
something you had every other season. In particular, might be a new home shirt, or like say, I agree, Mark. You'd alternate it each season, so you always have a new shirt. But it wouldn't necessarily
just be one, wasn't it? But now teams have got like third shirts and, like you say, European ones, and it's just like, how much money do they think fans have got?
We tend to do a home and away each year, and then the away shirt becomes the third shirt, if that makes sense. And
so
it sort of drops back.
That way. I think that makes sense.
So
it drops back.
But I think part of that's in an era now where sponsorship and kit suppliers are changing that often. Clubs are signing up, say, kit suppliers. They haven't had Hummel for 3-4 years now with Castore, which has got its own trials and tribulations already. But, you can't be keeping last season's away shirt as a third shirt if you're with a different manufacturer or got a different shirt sponsor and so on. So I think that's sadly how it's kind of gone. I like the fact they've kept the home shirt 2 years, Luton. I think it's something that more clubs should do if they can. It's the motives behind it I do partially question. But regardless of their motives, I think they will be lifting the championship title in that shirt. Or indeed the away shirt, depending on how the fixtures fall.
You watch, it'll be the third shirt now they get the trophy lifted.
It'll be third.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Somebody mentioned, one of our friends, Jim, Glyn, reckons that Brentford have kept their kit as well.
They may have done.
But that's news to me. I've not seen that anywhere. But yes.
I mean, now you mention it, I haven't seen a new Brentford shirt. Doesn't mean that there isn't one. Just means I haven't seen one.
I'll put that out there. I'll put that out there. And he also reckons that.
You're right. Yeah. It's the Brentford account. Yeah, you're right.
Glenn, he's an Everton fan, and he reckons that Everton are going to release 2 home kits, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I think there will be. We'll come on to it in a second. I think there'll be a commemorative Goodison shirt,
right?
Because we did one 2017, Jim.
A bit later than that. 125 years of Goodison Park. With the
2016, 2017, something
with
like
the old EFC insignia and no sponsor.
Yeah, 92. Nice. 92, 2017. Yeah. They did Umbro did a special edition.
It was later than that. I got it from the 30th.
Yeah, you are 34 next week.
Yeah.
I think
2019,
2020.
Anyway, regardless, that's number one. Right, so.
But we did do a commemorative shirt for 120th season of Goodison. So I think they'll do something depending on how the season goes. There'll be something that will come out as like a commemorative shirt. They'll do something because they want to make some cash off it.
I mean, if it was me, obviously we'll get back to championship. If it was me, I'd get the lyrics of every Evertonian's favourite chant across it.
It's not about hoop design.
just looks like hula hoops in the front of the shirt.
Gobshite across the back.
Is that some fans have got that print on the back of their shirts?
Fuck off, dice.
Is that not Wrexham fans' deck?
Well, them as well. Yeah. Well, there's something else, but I can't say either of those things on the podcast.
He probably thinks they've got the same name as a certain German midfielder from the Euro '96 squad.
That's good.
Oh, we remember the 3 lines 98 video. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, amazing. But speaking of that, ties in, well, depending on your viewpoint, quite nicely who I'd tip to go up to second place, which is Leeds. I know it's the meme that Leeds will fall apart, and I was not going to put them in. I was just going to not even address them because I thought maybe I don't want to fall down that route. But the more I look at, again, it comes down to Rob Edwards being settled with Luton, and on Luton, by the way, they basically purchased players last season for this eventuality. They bought players for if we go down, we can go back up again. So that's why I think the likes of Chong and guys like that, the keeper whose name escapes me. I think Luton are going to do that. But Leeds, I still think despite losing players, they've got Daniel Farker, they've got another year on, a settled squad. Joe Rodon's back as a permanent now, having part of the Archie Gray deal, who I think he was there on loan last season. He was a good championship level player. I just think you've still got Bamford who gets goals at that level. I just think they're overall a strong side, and I don't think you can underestimate them as much as, they tend to bottle it. I don't look at the rest of the league and think, I don't think there's that many teams better than them. Playoff-wise, I've gone Coventry. I think Thomas Asante is a loss to West Brom, but I think he can bag some goals for Coventry. And I think, well, Ellis Sims, this is the year Ellis Sims, well, he's already proved Evertonians wrong to an extent, but I think it's the year he really does come to the fore. And I think, again, under Mark Robbins, you've just got I know they've lost Callum O'Hare, but they've just, again, it's about stability for me in the Championship this year. I looked at managers who've been there for a year or two, or Robbins' case seems about the last 20 years, and have built the team, in their image. And again, Burnley playoffs, and I wasn't going to put West Brom in the playoffs. And I'm not just whacked them in.
And he's still not. Yeah.
No, I am. It's not necessarily with a great respect to present company, but when I saw you sign Lewis Dobbin, I thought there is potential top goal scorer in the Championship there. And I'm not exaggerating to say I wish we'd have kept him. I think he was good enough to play in the Premier League. But PSR called and we sold. So I genuinely think he can get you the goals to fight in the playoffs.
Fingers crossed.
I absolutely. I mean, he'll probably. Don't come back to me if he's absolutely shite or gets injured on the first game of the season, by the way. But I
will. Don't worry about that.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt. You'll have me on your podcast and they'll be like, try to explain yourself.
It'll just be an hour and a half of that. Now, Jimmy, the floor is yours. Why did this happen?
I'm going to be like, I don't know. He's Villa's player, technically. But yeah, I think Albion will be solid. I think it'll be a lot like last season, but a bit better. I know you've lost Legacy Custard back to Trabzonspor, and I can't think who else you've lost now. Oh yeah, the fellow to Ipswich whose name escapes.
Connor Townsend.
Townsend, who looks a player.
Connor Carlos after that one free kick he did, which I think was it against Norwich maybe. Down the Smithwick end it was Brunty-esque.
Wow. I bet Ipswich fans have watched that time and time again.
Speaking of Chris Brunt free kicks, not as good as the one he scored at Goodison. Just saying.
Yes, that was
from about 3 miles out.
That was a phenomenal. When you put Bass was 4-1 that day, that was a phenomenal free kick. That.
Yeah, it's fair to say he was a player.
Oh, he was some player, Brunt.
Yeah, we've got the invasion of the Rosie again.
That's okay.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. And a bit of a rogue shot for my last playoff place. And this isn't just because I watched a bit of ITV Euros. I think Sheffield Wednesday, given their run at the back end of last season with Danny Rowe, I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Danny Rowe? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to. An hour and a half of that, imagine, be torture. Me trying to pronounce Danny Rowe's name. But I think also, given how poor they were under Xisco Munoz, given Chansiri's just from Chansiri, just read up on him if you need to know anything about his ownership. But I think they've assembled some really good players, and I just have a feeling that if they can give Rowe what he wants and let him do his thing, he can sneak him into the playoffs. It'll be tight. I mean, I fancy the likes of, again, Marty Fuentes and QPR is a similar boat to do well. I quite fancy Norwich. I quite fancy Stoke under Stephen Schumacher. I think he's a good manager. I don't
It
mind
sounds
Bristol.
like Greg in the National League again.
It does. Yeah, but because it's the Championship in it. I think even Bristol City, which are the most archetype mid-table Championship team, have actually got a solid chance. And Liam Manning are doing some this year.
Sort of like if it's like if Lou Bega did a song about clubs and not women. A little bit of touch of team, a little bit of City and Stoke and blah blah blah. Yeah.
I was just going to say, the way he's saying he fancies so many teams, he sounds like a bit of a tart.
Well, I
do like the Championship. I don't want us to be in it, but I do like the Championship.
One of us.
See you soon.
Oh, I will be.
Oh, yeah.
I will be by Bramley Moore. Will be
55,000
subjected to Bristol City Dome. I can't wait. But to go down, because there are teams I do not like or don't fancy in the Championship, of course. I think Oxford, it's sad. I want them to stay up, but they've lost Josh Murphy to Portsmouth, who was one of their key players and going up last season. He got both goals in the playoff final last season. I just don't think, I know they're going to have a lot of spirit. They'll have the smallest fan base, the smallest stadium, that little three-sided thing they've got. And it's their first time back, I think, in about 26 years in the second division. It's been a long time.
You mentioned Pompey. I fancy them to do all right. I don't think they'll tear up any trees, but I think they'll be, comfortable sort of 12, 13
them and Derby, I think, will be okay. Not amazing, and I don't think there's much positivity going into the new season for them, but I think they'll both be all right.
Yeah, I don't think they'll struggle.
No, far from it. I think that there's worse teams, as I'll get on to, but Oxford to go. Plymouth under Rooney. I think Plymouth got some really good players, but they keep hiring shit managers after they lost Schumacher. Ian Foster came in, was an absolute dud. And now Rooney's come in, and you've got talent there, but I just don't rate Rooney as a manager.
So
I think Plymouth...
Yeah, I'll say Plymouth couldn't even beat Stourbridge after 2 attempts in the Cup, so I know it was a number of years ago, but still.
Yeah, not that you've held it against them.
What did you say, Matt? Sorry?
So do you reckon Rooney actually knows where Plymouth is?
Well, he heard that there were lots of good nursing homes around there, so he's decided to up sticks,
apparently,
and travel.
Allegedly,
he's got a job. Allegedly, as well as being Plymouth's manager, he's got a little side hustle with Meals on Wheels. Allegedly.
Now that's the advert.
Now there's an image.
That's the advert.
Yeah, let's
well, he'd turn up, wouldn't he, just with a dirty plate, because he would have eaten the food in the car on the way there. Do you remember the scene from? Do you remember Little Britain? And
be careful.
The brother and sister in the flat.
You're really hitting the cultural zeitgeist there, Dak.
Remember it? This podcast was 20 years old. Tell you what, we'd be right in there.
He had like an elderly sister, and the Meals on Wheels used to come, and he'd be like, "Oh, such and such. The roast dinner was really nice," said Betty, and all this, and he'd like obviously munch it all in the front room. I'll try and send it.
Oh yeah, you got to find that.
It's funny in my head.
I wasn't expecting when I tipped Plymouth to go down for that to be the direction this went in.
Well, there you go.
This is the beauty of the podcast. And I wonder what you're going to say when I say that I think Preston will go as well. They've lost Alan Brown, who's been the heart of the midfield for years. Ryan Lowe seems to be at odds with the fans. They've got a bottom 8 budget in the Championship. They're one of those clubs that just have stood still in the Championship for what feels about a decade now since they came up from League One. And if you stand still in A division, you revert, you go backwards. And I just feel like there's nothing really for Preston to get too excited about. I also don't fancy Watford. Tom Cleverley as a manager. I didn't rate him much as a player, so as a manager, Christ knows. And Cardiff, I don't know what their strategy is, but they're just signing anyone who's over 30.
They're just there, aren't they?
They
just exist.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
It's Dex pulling technique.
Hello. Well, what can I say, Matt? What can I say?
Hey, numbers speak for themselves, mate. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm in the 30 club now as well, so it's not as weird.
I forgot about that. Wow. Welcome back.
I thought you meant the Welsh.
No. I leave the Welsh women.
Just hops over the border and tries to.
Right. Shall we? Should we do a quick dragon?
Any further championship before we move on to the worst league in the world?
Swansea. Yeah, they're one of them. They'll either again be pushing for promotion or just mid-table obscurity. I don't think they're ever in any danger of going down.
No.
But they're either like in your face or completely leave you alone. So that's me. So and we've mentioned Cardiff, so we've got to balance it out for South Wales. You know what I mean?
We've got to in the interest of balance. Absolutely. No, we can't show bias, even though I have tipped Cardiff to go down, so it's not really bias. But yeah, absolutely.
We've given both teams a platform, so that's enough.
Absolutely, got to be fair. Right. So, Premier League. Where do we begin with this absolute shit show of a division?
I mean,
we all can we just agree, by the way, that we all hate the Premier League.
I'm not a lover of it.
I'm in it and I hate it.
You're in it and you hate it. Like that.
I genuinely think between the five of us, we could sum this up inside a minute.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know who the top 2 or 3 are going to be. You know who's going to go down, and you know the rest of it's going to be very average.
Predictable.
Okay, so say aye if you've tipped City to win the league.
Aye.
Right, okay.
That's like the worst LED impression ever.
Aye. Say aye if you tipped Arsenal to come top 4.
Yep.
Aye. Say aye if you got Liverpool to come top 4.
Aye.
You can see where this is going.
Oh, okay, right then. That's a talking point. Going to top 4s then. There we go. City and Arsenal, fair enough. What if we all got them to top 4? Bit of debate here.
Matt.
Well, I'll start off since I was the one who was going to. I think City, Arsenal. This is going to cause some debate, and I appreciate that it will do. I've got Man U in 3rd.
Oh.
I've got United. I think Ten Hag actually will. I think that cup result against City in particular end of last season, I think was a huge deal for him. I think obviously without that he's gone.
Hang on, Matt, can I just question though? Have you done us on the premise they've actually got fit players?
Well, we'll come back to that in a second.
Okay.
I was drunk when I made the prediction. I think that cup result in particular was a huge deal for them. Him in particular, because it did prove that they could go up toe-to-toe with the likes of City, and on the day with a better team. I mean, City might have had an off day slightly, but that's not the point. They've bought pretty well. I appreciate, I see Yara's out for, 3 months with an injury, and Hoyer's going to miss start the season. I just think they're going to blag 3rd somehow. I don't know quite know in what capacity what it is. And then the 4th spot, the reason I'm not back Liverpool is Arne Slot has got a tough job on his hands going into that. Following Klopp is similar levels to Ferguson and those kind of managers. Whoever goes into City after Guardiola, as an example, has got the same sort of challenge. I actually put Spurs in it, which I know sounds a bit mad because they were such a weird team to watch last season. But I do think if they sort out some defensive issues they had last season, they've got goals in them. And I think even last season, Villa, and I'm not discounting Villa. I think Villa's issue is going to be similar to what Newcastle have had this season, last season, which has just been you put in European football, it creates an extra time, and they'll focus so much on the European, the group stage in particular. Also, now with it being more games, am I right? Isn't it 8 games
in the first phase
rather than group stage,
which is going to cause more problems for them. And Villa have bought well over the summer they have, and Arna, I think, is a good buy for them. Some Evertonians might disagree with me. I think he's an excellent footballer. I think, like Newcastle, there's going to be a focus on the Champions League of trying to get the money side of it purely. They might slip away in the league and still finish top 7. Get me wrong, they'll still do well. But yeah, I think Liverpool, it's a real tough one. They've looked all right in pre-season, but that's pre-season. I do just think he's got a really tough job on his hands to go in there and have that team as good as it was under Klopp, also with another year older, with the likes of Van Dijk and everyone else. Salah in particular is a weird situation. He seems to be coming back in good form. Whether they can go up to that level they have been last season with Arsenal and City.
So Alisson suffered with injuries as well, hasn't he? More so,
yeah, exactly. Maybe it's
season.
Maybe it's the wishful thinking of an Evertonian that they don't finish top 4, but I just think they've got a tough job to get up with other teams around them who have strengthened and are looking good going into that season as well.
And Chelsea as well, and under Maresca, we don't know what they're going to.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Chelsea, but yeah, they're on my sort of. You just Chelsea, Christ, who knows what they're going to do? But seem to have bought
Everyone,
I think. Last time I checked.
Sorry, Chelsea have spent money.
Yeah, didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
It's not very commonly known. They're quite stingy about it.
That could have been up there with our predictions of like grass cutting and wearing shirts, doesn't it? Chelsea will spend money.
Exactly.
In fact, we'll correct that. Chelsea will waste a lot of money.
There you go.
There's the prediction.
In fact, I'd like to formally confirm that Chelsea's put a bid in for UDEC earlier today. £105 million plus Cheetos.
Wasted money. Plus Cheetos.
Yeah, they're paying you Cheetos, mate.
Because I know I'll step foot on that pitch and I'll be on a stretcher within 5 minutes. I won't even pass the medical. But 105 mil, what's my sign-on fee?
That's why they didn't say. But I think it's some kind of OnlyFans subscription.
Do I get a new knee out of it?
No. Joking?
No.
Leave it with me.
The
Cheetos are kind of...
I only accepted so we could watch the medical and just have a laugh.
So initially, I thought you said dudek.
If you want to watch me lying on a bed anytime, Jimmy, there's a website for that. And I've got mates rates discounts. So
that's fantastic.
You don't need to worry about your finances or your VPN.
But your browser history on the other hand.
I mean, I do have to worry about that. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So there you
go. That's me going against the grain. But feel free to now rip me apart.
No, that's...
You say you mentioned Newcastle and the third biggest team in Birmingham as well, beyond Solihull and Birmingham City, obviously.
Of course, in the obviously the
in that order,
balance fairness.
Yes,
they showed last season that they're capable of getting up towards the top end of the league, which obviously after they went down a few seasons prior, they'd have thought, well, we ain't going to be in this position again. But like I say, are they going to be able to cope with the added pressure and exertion of Champions League football? You got that thing, was it the Champions League hangover? So you play midweek, then you're playing on the Sunday probably, but you haven't, if you've had to travel away to the arse end of Georgia or something, which sounds like a video that Deck might be watching at the moment.
Wasn't that a song by the Monkees?
The arse end of Georgia.
The midnight arse end to Georgia.
I thought we were starting at the arse end and working up.
Well,
I was going to say, Deck, you do, mate.
Georgia.
Christ.
But you the like of them in Newcastle. There's about 7 or 8 teams that could easily go into that top 4. Like say Liverpool, transitional period under Slot now, and as Matt said, players are another year older than some of the better players. Are they going to have one eye on replacing them, or try and get the last season out of them before they do?
They've had a very weird summer, Liverpool, when you look into it. They haven't particularly... They're clearly in a sell-to-buy situation, but it's who do you sell from that squad? Because if you sell a big name, if you do sell a Salah, for example, if you end up going to Saudi or wherever else, or the Far East...
He's going to Solihull, didn't you know?
Is he not? Oh, there you go. Exclusive, guys.
105 pence plus Cheetos.
Now that's a deal.
There you go.
That is a deal for Salah.
Jimmy, get me agent on that. Oh no, but Jimmy, you are my agent.
I was going to say,
Jimmy,
I am your agent.
That's worse than Harry Kane having his brother as his agent, isn't it?
It's so much worse. I wear a lot of hats.
Don't be jealous, Greg. You can do the medical.
Yeah.
Don't be jealous.
But it is that odd thing of who is. I mean, Salah's come back and the looks in good form, etc. Are they waiting to cash in on someone? Then who replaces players of that caliber? Who can you bring in? Who's going to come in and be a new Mo Salah? It's a really tough situation they're in. The likes of, this is where City in particular have got such a stronghold because they're selling Alvarez apparently to Atletico for like 82 million or something stupid. And they've got 3 players lined up already who are going to be just as good as him because they've got the cash to go and spend it. Liverpool, as financially good as they are, it's always been as a project under the FSG, which is, I think, where some of the frustration for Liverpool fans comes in. They don't go and spend 200 million quid every summer because that's not the way that club is ran, and it's worked really well for them. I suppose the big difference is they've got what's his name come back in,
Michael Edwards.
Michael Edwards, thank you. Who built that squad originally. Whether he can do it again, it's meant to be seen. But yeah, that was mainly it. I could be completely wrong. They might win the league. Who the fuck knows?
I think the more we discuss, I've got Liverpool to come in my top 4. I mean, on my top four, I'll be honest with you, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and I've gone Tottenham as well, because Postecoglou, settled squad, bit of a theme of mine this, and I got a really good feeling about Tottenham this year, which is seldom the case with me. But with Liverpool, the more we talk about it, the more I think, actually, if I just tip them to come there because of Liverpool, and because I just expect them to do better than they normally do, and it's that sort of, as a blue, you just kind of expect them to always be about the place. When you look at the business they've done, which is none, I think the more I think about it just from listening to you guys now, they're actually being inadvertently being affected by the PSR stuff, because normally there'd be a solid academy project that'd be sold for 20 million to Solanke and Nico Williams. Something like that would go to a Forest or a Bournemouth or someone for 20, 30 million quid, which would then in turn, they could then reinvest. You know, they could take that money as pure profit and then go up there, amortise that spending on whoever from abroad. They could go out there, obviously the Coutinho deal massively helped them spend big money on the likes of, Van Dijk and Alisson, guys like that in the past. Because now clubs lower than the Premier League are not going to be spending 20, 30 million pounds on, say, Curtis Jones, for example. Just as an example, I know he's in around this first team squad. Maybe they're becoming sort of an issue there where they can't spend the money that they would have made off those academy players that they sold on in the past. And I think also, one thing, I think I said it on the review podcast, maybe that may turn out to be really haunting, is Jurgen Klopp singing Arne Slot's name on the pitch in the last game of last season.
Yeah.
Is that going to be something that we will meme to fuck by December when he's sacked in Roy Hodgson? I actually really rate Slot as manager. If you look at Ed's final team, if you look at the way he's been inventive in training now, the Liverpool goalkeepers, trying to get them to work on sort of their environment around them, and I think he's a really good manager. But sometimes your face doesn't fit you don't want to be the guy after the guy. You want to be the guy after the guy after the guy
after the guy.
Yeah.
It was a bit of Ferguson and Moyes. There was no Ferguson. Now your new job is
Wenger and Emery.
It's dare I say it. I am going to dare to say it.
Go for it.
An entitlement, which I think we've kind of touched on before. That there's this thing of that he's going to come in and he will be successful and we will continue to win everything and we will do it. And football doesn't work like that. No, and as you've said, all of these other examples, especially the Fergie example, etc., where it just doesn't work like that, does it? Look, even with Chelsea.
I'd be quite intrigued to hear some Red's thoughts to see what, because I know
not too many though. Because
I'm not going to generalise all of them, but the ones I have as friends, etc., are all pretty level-headed about football.
Yeah,
and it would be quite intrigued to know what their general, if they're just thinking, if we get top four, that's a really good season. Or if it is, oh shit, we could be in, down towards Conference League level. We're not
going to try and get Fami back on.
It's intriguing.
Yeah.
We'll put the feelers out on X.
Yeah. Do it. It's a funny one because part of me saying, oh yeah, they'll be fine. They'll just be, but then no one's entitled to be at the top of the league all the time and win everything. And what I can now see happening, and I will keep on the top.
Rochdale, may we add?
Oh,
they are going to win everything.
Rochdale are going to win the lot. Rochdale, this is the road to glory.
They're going to win a lot.
Premier League champions 2030, Rochdale.
We couldn't win a bingo, but hey ho.
Under Thogden's.
A bingo that you hosted and tried to rig.
Yeah, exactly. We still couldn't win.
Yeah. But what I can see happening now, Liverpool, and this isn't exactly a massive hot take, if you will, Slot lasts a season, maybe even half a season if it doesn't go particularly well. And who's available next summer? Xabi Alonso.
Stevie Gerrard.
Is it a wrong midfielder in Istanbul?
Gerrard.
Yeah, Alonso's the one there.
Steven Gerrard can't manage his bowels.
There's the episode title.
There's the clip.
There it is. There's the title.
Which is ironic.
We got there. It was an hour and 15 minutes.
Come on!
Yeah, quite literally shit on the Villa. Yeah, so I've put Liverpool top four, but again, it's a questionable one. But then so is Tottenham. I quite like Villa, as in the team, what they've got. Sorry, Mark, I know you don't want to hear it.
I was zoned out when you said Villa, to be fair. So
fair.
You really are out to piss me
off. I could have been offering a week away at Villa in Greece and you'd zone out.
Probably.
Yeah. But also a bit of a rogue one. Well, maybe not a rogue one. I like the business West Ham are doing, but I'll caveat that with I don't think Fulkrug will do well. He's another Skamaka / Haller, big man from Europe.
31, is he?
Youngster. 31. Sorry, I'm not having that. Youngster.
If somebody says
I'm all for that. 31 being young, I'll take that.
31,
absolute youngster.
Low limit, isn't it?
But seriously, I like what they're doing. I like Lopetegui as a manager. I think they've got a really good squad anyway, a good basis there to progress.
Somerville in there as well.
I just feel like once it gets Somerville, but I feel like it's the classic sign a big centre forward who doesn't do much, which is... I rate Füllkrug as a player. I like him at Dortmund, I like him at Bremen, I like him in the German side. I just get the schematics about him.
Yeah.
But to go down, well, I'll give you a list of clubs that I don't fancy to do much this year in the Premier League. It's a bit like me in the Championship, the teams I liked. These are the teams I've got under the don't fancy category. Wolves, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth, Leicester, Fulham, Palace, Brighton. I think none of them are going to do anything very great to sell note. And a name I think, but Palace and Brighton, Palace are like Oliver Glasner, and Brighton have got this, Fabian Herzler from St. Pauli. I don't see them doing much, especially if, Brighton have lost not Fabian Gross, what's his name? Pascal Gross to Dortmund. Palace have lost Elise, they might lose Eze. The others will be I think we'll be fine. We're not going to be particularly great. But my bottom three, I think it'll be a massive shock, is Forest, Ipswich and Southampton. I think Ipswich will be like Luton, where they'll probably perform better than people say, but they'll be... I think Kieran McKenna's great.
Leicester, you've got to watch out for. They've not bought particularly much this summer.
Well, they've got financial issues, but I rate Steve Cooper as a manager, and I think there's enough experience in the Leicester squad still to just about keep them up, because that squad really shouldn't... I mean, I'm glad they did go down 2 years ago, because it would have been us otherwise. But that squad shouldn't have gone down 2 years ago, really, with the players they had. I know they've lost some of those players now. Yeah. Southampton, I'm not sure the Russell Martin style of play will necessarily translate. That'll be like Company at Burnley, where they'll try to play a certain way, and they'll get found out potentially. And Forest, I just don't know what's going on there. I don't know what they're... It's a very scattergun approach again to recruitment. I like Santo as a manager, but there's half the league that could go down this year if you really believe, which, you've got to really believe these things when you're a pessimistic Premier League supporter.
It's going to be, again, last season where defence kept you up. Everton's defence kept us up because we didn't score fucking any goals, felt like.
No.
I think there'll be a lot of that again this season where it's going to be not particularly brilliant football to watch from the bottom half down, because it's going to be just get your points away from home.
Yeah.
You can.
I'm going to put it out there. I saw a video from some fella called The Irish Guy on YouTube. He's a bit hyper, whatever, but sometimes he comes up with a decent point. He reckons this Premier League season is going to be just a bit dull. The team that we all expect to win is going to win. 3 teams go down that kind of, a bit like in 2017, that are going to go down. The top 4s be boxed off fairly early. Nothing dramatic is going to really happen. Now, we could be wrong, but it does feel a bit of inevitability.
I'm sure we said this about 20 minutes ago, Jimmy, with the LEDs.
Aye, yeah, we did. We did indeed.
But the league needs a new one. It needs, even Arsenal, it needs someone to come in and just change the status quo. But I don't see it.
No. We're not going to win it. We're not going to win it in our last season. Goodison, Jesus Christ.
Could do.
Imagine.
We could do. Piss the league. Could come our way.
I don't know what I'd do if we actually won the league in the last game of Goodison. I don't know what I'd do.
Win a game of Goodison this season.
If we won the last game of Goodison, I don't know what I'd do.
Win a
regardless.
fucking corner is going to be a bonus.
Absolute scenes.
We're going on Saturday for a friendly. That's going to be big enough. We just happen to win a header.
Yeah, I'm going to go and watch the Roma players. They're quite good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but I think we were all in agreement with City really and Arsenal. But it's going to be what it'll be. But I think having now previewed all 5 divisions, I think we're all kind of in agreement. There's a kind of I'm glad we finished on this one in a way, so people have switched off by this point because the excitement of the National League and calling it the arse of the whatever, it feels like we've built our way up to the sort of...
The arse is where all the excitement is what we can take from this. Unless you're Steven Gerrard.
Advocated for years.
There's excitement there. But...
There's excitement.
You've got a fascination with bums, mate. What's going on?
No.
Is everything okay at home?
Everything's great.
Show me on the doll where they touched fantastic.
You. Just a whole doll. The doll was actually involved. He was the
it's up there as well.
The doll's up there, yeah. Oh, it's up there, all right.
Oh, no.
Let's tell you what, on that final note, things have been going for like 2 hours. Should we call it a wrap then?
Yeah.
I think we should call it a wrap.
Can I put a little bit of a shout out there, which I've not endorsed on the group chat. I'm going to do it. Oh no, this is a serious note. A friend of mine, a good friend and colleague of mine, Phil Haywood is embarking on a 10k a day challenge again for a year. He did this during lockdown a few years ago and raised £25,000 for, I think it was for Alzheimer's UK. And he started it again at the start of July. But he's actually doing it barefoot for a year. So he's currently running around every park and bit of beach that he can find. So I'll find all of his links and stuff like that and share them on the podcast socials. But I'd like to try and get Phil on at some point. He's done, well, he does a lot of different podcasts. He's an absolute staunch Evertonian, but his football and knowledge is very, very good. And hopefully we can get him on and talk a little bit about what he's doing as well. But just, I'll share a couple of his bits and bobs out, and if people can spread the word, then that would be fantastic.
That'd be brilliant.
I think as well, for people that can't be asked listening to the full 2 hours of this, are we going to do a tweet each of what our actual predictions are? As in, instead of just going, 8 teams might win the league, so we actually decide on who's going to do what and tweet it so we can have some accountability come May next year.
Yeah.
I think also, we'll link, obviously, what, is it Phil, did you say his name was, your mate?
Phil, yeah.
Yeah, we'll link what he's doing, obviously, in podcast descriptions and all around social media. And speaking of links to social media and things you can find, Mark, where can we find you on social media? Let the listenership, if they did listen this far, let them know, please.
I don't think there's any point at this rate, is there? No, I tend to be on... I tend to be on Twitter more than anything, or X, whatever the bloody hell you want to call it. It's like the name of the conference and the National League. It'll always be Twitter to me, same as the conference.
Yes.
But proj_foot. And if you go on that, it's got like the link tree link on the on your profile page. So all the links to like Instagram, Facebook. I even ventured into TikTok recently. Yeah, don't judge. YouTube as well for like little snippets for episode previews and what have you. Everything's on that Linktree one, but mostly Twitter. And if you search for Project Football Podcast on your chosen podcast platform of choice, easy for me to say, it'll come up with the picture of a goal being scored, ball going into the back of it, blue writing, it says Project Football Podcast. I would say you can't go wrong, but even after 3.5 years, I think, there's still improvement to be made. But you know what? As long as I'm enjoying it, who cares?
Well, that's it, mate. We've been doing this for 3-4 years. What season are we on now? Jesus Christ!
I've lost count.
We started this. Let's work that one offline.
That's why I don't bother putting season numbers. Just like I've just been going this long.
Yeah,
numbers.
We've been going since 2021. We've been doing this, so 3 years. And again, 3.5 years. We still don't know what we're doing. We're making bum jokes every 5 minutes. So I mean, there's always room for improvement.
That's just deck.
That's just deck. Yeah, absolutely. And the rest of us are just vibes. But no, if you've enjoyed listening to this, first of all, God help you. But secondly, please do search for It's Only a Game, as well as obviously Project Football and all podcast networks that are available to you, and of course other social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok if you're that way inclined, anywhere else. And just remember that regardless what happens this season, whether you know what, haven't got a good line for my brains for 2 hours of doing all this, just remember, whatever happens this season, it's only a game. I want to thank Mark for joining us. Thank you everyone for listening. Take care now. Bye.
Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you very much.
Bye, bro.
Take care.
See you now.
It's Only a Game podcast with hosts Jimmy, Greg, Dec and Matt, bringing football topics with occasional guests. Download, subscribe and stream for a hat-trick of support. Tap in ratings and reviews on your podcast platform. Stay on side with our YouTube channel and social media pages.
Sports Social Podcast Network.